In 1867, Mark Twain joined a 5.5-month tour of Europe and the Holy Land. His record of the excursion was published in his first travel book, The Innocents Abroad. Eventually, he and his traveling companions found themselves in Italy at the ruins of Pompeii. His account of the experience is relevant today.
They pronounce it Pompeii. I always had an idea that you went down into Pompeii with torches by way of damp, dark stairways and traversed gloomy tunnels with lava overhead and something on either hand like dilapidated prisons gouged out of the solid earth that faintly resembled houses. But you do nothing of the kind. Fully one-half of the buried city is completely exhumed and thrown open freely to the light of day. And there stand long rows of solidly built, roofless brick houses, just as they stood 1,800 years ago, hot with the flaming sun. And there lie their floors, clean swept. And there are the Venuses and Bacchuses and Adonises on the walls of saloon and bedchamber. And there are the narrow streets and sidewalks. And there are the bake shops, the temples, the halls of justice, the baths, the theaters, all clean scraped and neat. The sun shines as brightly down on old Pompeii today as it did when Christ was born in Bethlehem. We lounged through many and many a sumptuous private mansion. These people built their houses a good deal alike. The floors were laid in fanciful figures wrought in mosaics of many-colored marbles. At the threshold, your eyes would fall upon a Latin sentence of welcome, sometimes, or a picture of a dog, with the legend, "Beware of the dog," and sometimes a picture of a bear or a fawn, with no inscription at all. Then you enter a sort of vestibule, where they used to keep the hat rack, I suppose. Next, a room with a large marble basin in the midst and the pipes of a fountain. On either side are bedrooms. Beyond the fountain is a reception room, then a little garden, dining room, and so forth and so on. The floors were all mosaic. The walls were stuccoed or frescoed or ornamented with bas-reliefs, and here and there were statues, large and small, and little fish pools and cascades of sparkling water that sprang from secret places in the colonnade of handsome pillars that surrounded the court and kept the flower beds fresh and the air cool. It was a quaint and curious pastime, wandering through this old silent city of the dead, lounging through utterly deserted streets where thousands and thousands of human beings once bought and sold, and walked and rode and made the place resound with the noise and confusion of traffic and pleasure. Everywhere you see things which bring back those long dead inhabitants and place them living before your eyes. For instance, the steps that lead up and out of the school, and the same kind of steps that lead up into the dress circle of the principal theater, are almost worn through. For ages the boys hurried out of that school, and for ages their parents hurried into that theater, and the nervous feet that have been dust and ashes for 18 centuries have left their record for us today. And so I turned away and went through shop after shop, far down the long street of merchants, and called for the wares of Rome and the East. But the tradesmen were gone, the marts were silent, and nothing was left but the broken jars, all set in cement of cinders and ashes. We came out from under the solemn mysteries of this city of the venerable past, and went dreaming among the trees that grow over the acres and acres of its still buried streets and squares, till a shrill whistle and the cry, "All aboard! Last train for Naples!" woke me up, and reminded me that I belonged in the 19th century, and was not a dead, dusty mummy caked with ashes and cinders 1,800 years old.